welcome to the first session of the Swimming Knowledge Series, which is organized by the Rainbow Swimming Academy. My name is Kasun Rupasinghe, and I have been part of the swimming field for the last 25 years as a swimmer and a coach at St. Joseph's College. And most recently, I was with the champion Visaka team until the end of last year. I will be moderating this knowledge series. We have a lineup of coaches, former swimmers, and some prominent names in the sporting and academic field who will be presenting the biomechanics of the 4 swimming strokes, starts and turns, strength and conditioning, long-term athlete development, avoiding injuries in sport, nutrition, and being a student athlete, and finally being a swimmer parent, which will be presented by Mr. Julian Bowling and Mr. Shamli Nawaz, who are legends in their respective sports fields. We have been safe at our homes for the last 2 months, and I'm sure all of us are looking forward to go back to the pool once normality returns. So, while we are at home, we thought it would be a good idea to educate our dear swimmers and parents with a knowledge series program such as this. This program, as I said, is not only for swimmers. We hope your parents will join in as well, especially for the topics on Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. As you know, after each lecture, there will be a question and answer session. So please feel free to drop in your questions in the chat bar so we can address them once the lecture is over. Now, I would like to invite, without further ado, the big boss himself, 3-time Olympian and swimming legend in Sri Lanka, and the director of Rainbow Swimming Academy, Mr. Julian Bowling.
Hello, everybody, dear swimmers. I'm sure some parents are listening as well. A great swimming community. We want to welcome from the start swimmers from Ladies College, St. Peter's College. We have Visaka Vidyalaya and the whole spectrum of international schools. Lyceum Vatsala, we got Moya International School, Stafford International School, and Colombo International School. I hope I got the full list correct. Also, want to welcome all the coaches from the different teams. Also want to welcome, I almost forgot my own team, the swimmers of the Rainbow Aquatics, Bowling Swimming Academy, and yeah. So that's it. Oh gosh, I almost would have lost my job. It's been, I was trying to count the days we've been in lockdown. I just can't count anymore, but I think it's almost close to 2 months, maybe getting there. I think I was just giving a message just now for someone they wanted it in their website. And I just thought of that thing that Sri Lanka as a nation, we've done very, very well. You young kids, parents, our entire nation has done well to hang in there. It's not been easy at all. So we thought we'll have this session, a series of good topics. Whole 7 days, it's like not that you're going back to school, but the first 2 days for sure, we're going to cover what we call biomechanics, that is technique. And I know right here we have children who might be in the under 10 age group. We have swimmers who are swimming at senior national level. When it comes to technique, I always feel whether it's Michael Phelps or under 10 swimmer, the basic principles, the basic stuff that we want to use on what we call good technique is very simple. So whether it's Phelps or any one of you, the fact that things are quite simple. It is for us to know what technique is and then try and apply it in our heads. And then with the help of the coaches, continue to improve on this area. So the next 2 days are very important on technique. And yep, so look forward to this. And again, I just want to thank some of the coaches, Kasun, as he started off, Kanita, Shachil, Shehan, Imran, Nimesh, and Shehan Dasanayake putting this together. And then we also have other lecturers like Eranga from Ladies College, a great guy. I had the privilege of coaching. He has a good story. He's going to share his life story, how he was a swimmer and how he balanced his swimming and his studies together and did well in both. And he had a good time doing that. So I think the week is going to be good. And as Coach Kasun said, was it Thursday, Friday, and Sunday? Please, 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 young kids, get your parents. They must be involved. It's about nutrition. It's about athlete's life, and it's all about parenting and how dad and mom can be better dad and moms in helping you achieve your dreams. So thank you very much and welcome. And back to the moderator, Coach Kasun.
Thank you, Coach Julian, for those encouraging words. Now, I will start off with a brief, like a very basic introduction onto biomechanics. So, as swimmers, we tend to deal with water. I mean, we have no other choice, but we have to deal with water a lot, right? So, to put in an understandable terms on how heavy water can be, water is 700 times as dense as air, which means water is 700 times heavier than air. And I'm sure you guys know that moving forward in water takes a lot of effort. And let's say compared to even walking or running, you have to take much more effort. So in the presentations coming up, the speakers will talk about the biomechanics of each stroke. Right. Stroke mechanics will help you to understand the best body position you should maintain while swimming to reduce drag or resistance following the dive to maximize the speed that is achieved off the blocks. So we will have a few pictures on the slides. So that is just for you to get distracted because of my beautiful face. So I think you should concentrate on the slides only and just have a look at the pictures and you will get an idea of what I'm trying to say. So to make things easy for you and even for coaches, we have come up with BLACT to learn and self-check each stroke while you swim. So what does BLACT mean? It's spelled B-L-A-B-T. B is for body position. A is for arm action. Sorry, after B is L. L is for your legs, which is your kick. And then you come to A, which is your arm action. Then you will come to B, which is your breathing, and T is for timing. Let's first move to body position. Next slide, please. Swimming success relies on how efficiently you can move through the water. And it involves breaking bad habits that come naturally when you swim. To a degree, the amount of bone, muscle, fat in your body will influence your body or body shape in the water. So fat floats easier than muscle, for example, but an error in your body posture while swimming is usually due to bad technique. Let's say the shape of, let's say a speedboat is made that way to reduce the resistance to move fast in the water. And let's say the body shape of a shark or a dolphin helps them to travel through water quickly. But unfortunately, our body is not made that way. So we have to keep in mind what sort of body shape or position we maintain while we swim. Next, we move on to L in black, which is legs. So when it comes to legs, what do we think? We think kicking. Why is kicking important? Swimming is a full body movement, and efficiency comes from developing coordination between your upper and lower body. The kick provides stability, improved body position, and propulsion, all components necessary for a more efficient freestyle. If there is one skill that most differentiates the fast swimmers from the not so, let's say, fast swimmers, it would be the strength of the kick. As a rule of thumb of measuring whether your kick is fast or, let's say, strong enough, your 100-meter freestyle PB and 75-meter all-out kicking time should be the same. Now, let's say your 100 PB is, let's say it's about 1 minute. Then you should be able to kick for 75 meters within 1 minute. So in freestyle, in backstroke, and even in fly, it's estimated that the kick in each stroke contributes to 20 to 30% to your propulsion. And in backstroke, it can be up to 50 to 60%. By the way, propulsion means moving forward. In our case, it's moving forward in water. It is recommended to do, maybe let's say it can depend on your age, your training age, to do about 800s kicking as a workout, maybe with a 10 or 15-second rest. It will also be interesting for you to see how you can improve on the time spent on this workout once you start swimming practices again. So just think about that. Maybe you can, in the future, maybe one day when you get back to the pool, maybe you can try this out. Or I'm sure your coaches also will try it out with you. Next, we move on to arms. A. Next slide, please. The secret to swimming better and faster is thanks to your arm technique, is no secret at all. Since the arms are the most important limbs for propelling you forward when swimming, it is important to train them to gain the necessary catch. So when we swim, we always say, you have to gain a certain catch in the water to gain that required arm power to move forward. The arm stroke contributes to about 70% for you to move forward in the free and the back, and the free back and fly. And then in backstroke, it's about 40 to 50. That's since the backstroke kick will also assist you to move forward in water. Right. Then we move on to breathing. B, the fourth letter of black. Whatever your swimming level may be, breathing is the engine that drives the physical effort. We generally don't think about it because we think we will breathe naturally, just like we do when we are out of the water. It is a technical aspect that is too often overlooked, both in training and in competition. So it is important that we work on it. So breathing actually has a big influence in the following points. The first thing is your swimming technique. You have to get your breathing right to make sure your swimming technique is in check. Then your buoyancy, which is also your floating ability. So generally you have to be able to float in the water to swim forward. So your breathing definitely helps in there. Then your balance and alignment of the body in the water, and then ultimately the propulsion, which is moving forward in the water, and your muscular effort. Right. Now let's move on to timing. So in swimming terms, actually, we say timing. Timing does not mean the time of your event. Let's say you swim 100 in 1 minute and 20 seconds. This is not that timing we are talking about. We are talking about the coordination of your body position, limbs, and breathing. So basically, it's a mix of what we have spoken before. It's about maintaining a smooth rhythm in your stroke. It also means how fast you will move forward and how beautiful and effortless your stroke would look and feel when you swim. In the upcoming presentations on stroke biomechanics, each coach will talk about BLEPT and how you can improve on certain issues. Also, I feel if you have, let's say, BLEPT, what I've spoken about in your head, you can ask, or you as a swimmer can always ask, maybe while you're training, mainly while you're training. I mean, it will be too late to think about it at competition, but at training, you think, okay, you can always ask yourself, is my head in the correct position? Am I kicking enough? Did I actually count from the flags? So you always would think what should be done if you have like a proper mental picture inside your head. So next slide, please. So with this extended break, it would be a good time to think how you can improve your technique. Next slide, please. There's a very famous saying that 10% improvement in technique usually results in an effort that is 10% better. To put in terms of performance, let's say your 100 freestyle is, let's say your PB is 120. A 10% improvement means a drop of 8 seconds. 8 seconds. So that means if you maybe think a bit more, even especially these days since you have a lot of time, where can I change? And then you go back to, when you go back to training, you speak to your coach, you say, maybe, you know, I feel that I'm, you know, maybe I don't have enough of catch while I swim. And maybe you tweak that. That can make your 120, bring your 120 into 112 even. So there's always a possibility to improve, given you tweak your technique. Okay, right. So my part as maybe a very brief description of what biomechanics is over. So now we move on to freestyle biomechanics. The lecture will be conducted by Mr. Shachil Perera. Shachil is a coach, is a coach at Rainbow Academy, Swimming Academy. Coach Shachil is a former national swimmer and was part of the champion Joe's swimming team, and he captained the boys from Dali Road in the year 2015. Thank you, Shachil, for being here today. Over to you.
Thank you, Coach Kasun, for the introduction. Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone is doing good and staying healthy at home. And first of all, I would like to thank Sir Julian and the organizers for giving me the opportunity to speak in this swimming knowledge series. Thank you. So let's go ahead with the topic. Next slide. So to move on to the freestyle, let's look at the keyword progression. And swimmers, I will not go into details with all this, since I will be talking about it upcoming slides. So the keywords are long arms, pulling underneath the body, timing of the breathing, three-stroke breathing, high elbow, and body rotation. The most important thing is body rotation. So let's move on to the mantra of freestyle. Fingers front, fingers down, fingers back, high elbow recovery, and rainbow entry. In this freestyle mantra, we are talking about the freestyle pull. Moving on to the next slide. So let's get the breakdown of freestyle. The first letter of black, B for body. Body should be flat and chin on the chest. A horizontal position and chin on the chest, so the hips and legs won't drop down. Coaches will always say to look down at the lane marking to keep that head in one place. So the common error in freestyle is where your head pops out. As you see the picture below, the moment your head pops out, the hips and legs are dropped. Swimmers, look at the incorrect picture. Chin is not close to the chest and head is up. And look at the leg. Legs are down. Legs are down because head is up. Now look at the correct picture. Chin is close to the chest and legs are on the water surface. Now again look at the incorrect picture. When your head is up, look at the distance between legs and the water surface. Everyone look at the incorrect picture. Look at the distance between water surface and the legs. Now look at the correct picture. Chin is close to the chest, that is head is down, and there is no distance between water surface and the leg. So how we can correct this error? Top head. Position 11 drill, progress drill is the key. Position 11 kick, breathe arm only, position 11 catch up drill, and finally almost catch up drill while counting the tiles of the pool. Fix this error. When you are doing this drill, guys, you all have to look down, straight look down, swim on the lane and try to count tiles. Then your chin is close to the chest. Moving on to the next slide. The second letter of black, L for legs, leg actions. So the kick of freestyle should be a white water kick, not over splashing, but a white water effort. The kick should be initiated at the hips and not knees. We should always remember kick begins from the hip while the toe brushes the water surface. The common error is where we see swimmers bending knees, creating resistance as well, not getting the right propulsion to move forward. Look at the picture in the slide, right hand side of the slide. You can see the range of the kick. Like when you are kicking, you all have to maintain a perfect range. To correct this, we can get swimmers to kick on their back, where they must break the water surface with toes while keeping their knees below the water surface. This helps to strengthen the legs and fix the knee bending issue for swimmers. Moving on to the next slide. Now I'm going to talk about the pull. Letter A, arm action. The arm action or the pull phrase consists of the mantra we discussed earlier. Fingers front, fingers down, fingers back, higher go recovery, rainbow entry. This is seen on below pictures, where the picture on your left side shows the fingers front, down, back, and your right side See the high elbow recovery and the rainbow entry. Guys, when it comes to rainbow entry, we have the mantra. We normally use fingers followed by wrist, followed by elbow. Common errors are swimmers pulling outside the body, losing out on the catch and feel of the water, and pulling inside the body line, creating imbalance of the freestyle stroke. To fix this pulling outside error, you can swim on the lane mark, drawing the lane edges, while you can use our swimmers to pulling inwards to pull outside the body, where they will end up at the right position. When you are doing this drill, swim on the lane and straight away look down and draw the line edges. Swimmers, look at the slide and look at the left side of 4 pictures. The first picture shows the entry, and second picture shows he has started the catch, and third picture shows fingers down, and last picture shows fingers back, fingers straight back. From picture 1 to picture 4 shows the long arm pull, fingers front, down, back. And now look at your right side 2 pictures. You can see the perfect high elbow and the rainbow entry. Moving on to the next slide. Letter B, breathing. Breathing is a key element, and it is essential to master it to gain the maximum out of it. When you turn your head to breathing, you must always keep one eye in, one eye out. One eye in the water, while eye out of the water. A common error is where a swimmer may overmake the both eyes visible when breathing, as seen on the picture on your left side of this slide. He has the ugly mouth, but look at the picture. 2 eyes are visible. So that is creating resistance. When your 2 eyes are out, that means your head is out. That is resistance. To correct this, we can do one arm swimming with an ugly mouth, breathing technique to avoid popping out of both eyes, as seen on the picture your right side of the slide. Look at the high elbow and look at the ugly mouth with one eye in, one eye out. That is perfect breathing technique. Moving on to the next slide. The last letter of black, timing of the breathing and the coordination. When it's come to the timing of freestyle, especially on freestyle, the timing is related to breathing of freestyle. The timing of the breathing. The accurate time to breathe is when the hand passes the face, where you don't overturn or lose balance when turning your head. A mistake seen would be where swimmers tend to start their breathing phrase early, making them overturn their head. This can be corrected by making the swimmers do multiple laps of turning the head after hand passes the face, making them eventually learn the right timing. I believe I have covered the breakdown of freestyle and would like to hand it over to next speaker to continue, Coach Nimesh. And I wish to answer all your questions at the end of his session. So please feel free to direct your questions to me for any clarification. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach Shachil, for the wonderful presentation. If you have any questions, as Shachil said, or you want to clarify anything regarding freestyle, please drop a message on the chat box and we will address them at the end of the session. I would also like to remind you that the chat box is for questions, not to say okay, hi, and greet each other. So please use the chat box for the questions. And just one more reminder regarding your videos. If you have switched on your video, please switch it off so it will help us with the connectivity. Thank you. Right. Now, we are going to let's move on to our next presenter. He was my right hand and left hand at Visaka Vidyalaya. And now he is the swimming head coach there. I'm talking about none other than Nimesh Dasanayake. Again, another former Josephian. Under Nimesh's guidance, the Visaka Small Ones has won the national school, the school's junior team title the last 2 years consecutively. Welcome, Nimesh. The stage is yours.
Thank you, Coach Kasun, for that amazing introduction. Good evening, everyone. First of all, I would actually like to thank all the coaches who were involved in organizing this series, which is very valuable for our athletes. Also, I would like to thank Coach Julian for giving me this great opportunity to present in this program. Hope you will listen and learn something from my presentation. So let's move on to my topic. My topic is backstroke, biomechanics of backstroke, or we can say the blab of backstroke. So let me look at a general overview. Backstroke is the third fastest stroke of the 4 competitive strokes, just slower than freestyle and then butterfly. And it is the only stroke that is done on your back in an upright position versus every other stroke being on your stomach. I think that is interesting. So there are a few keywords in terms of progression that I will go into detail from the next slide onwards. But let's check what those keywords are. Boiling water kick, periscope recovery, little finger entry, bent arm pull, catch to free rhythm, and the most important fact, the body rotation. Now, backstroke has one mantra that involves in this whole stroke mechanism. That's a down, up, down pull, a thumb lead recovery, and a little finger entry. Let me repeat that again. A down, up, down pull, a thumb lead recovery, and a little finger entry. So let's move on to the next slide. Yeah. So moving on to the blab of backstroke. Blab. B stands for body. So in backstroke, your head should be still, right? Head should be still. Ears in the water. Ears in the water and head should be still. Eyes looking upward. Should look up and head back and chin up. It is very natural as that is how we keep our neck even when we are walking, right? So do we keep our neck like this when you're walking? No, right? We bring our head up and chin, head back and our chin up. It's very relaxed. I think it's very relaxed when you're keeping your head back and your chin up. Now, backstroke is always on your side, guys, right? This stroke is always side to side, always side to side, and always shoulder out, shoulder out. If you look at the first picture, yeah, it will be very clear for you, right? So yeah, the first picture on your left, it will be very clear for you as a female swimmer, her on one shoulder is out, right? One shoulder is popping out while the other is in. So she's on the side. And guys, this is a stroke which is continuously on the side. It is not side, middle, side, right? It's always side to side stroke, right? Now, what are the common errors of the body position? It is when your head is sticking out of the water surface. When your head sticks out, you lose your balance, right? Your hips drop, and your legs drop. How can we correct it? You can do super slow swimming with fins, or we can say SSS. We can do super slow swimming with fins, right? So when you're wearing fins, so when you wear fins, it's gonna help your legs to stay on the water surface. You keep a cup on your forehead, right? Wear your fins, cup on your forehead, and you swim with it. And keep practicing, and it will help you to fix your head position slowly. So you can see the picture on the right. So having a cup on your forehead, you can do the kick with fins. So let's move on to the next slide. Yeah. So moving on to the legs, the component of legs in backstroke. It's a boiling water kick, right? A continuous kick under the water surface. So always under the water surface, right? You have to make sure that your knees always stay below the water surface. You don't want your knees popping up. All right. So let's move on to a few key pointers. Right. The kick is what stabilizes the body position from side to side. Right. It helps you to stay on your back while swimming with the body rotation. And if you don't have a strong kick, right? If you don't have a strong kick, and if you over rotate, that will break your neutral body position while swimming backstroke. So a strong kick is very important, as it will prevent over rotation. Right. The next point is, yeah, the kick is initiated at the hip. Right. It is very important to initiate at the hip and not your knees. Right. If you initiate at your knees, you will start bending your knees and start kicking in a way it will not help your stroke. So if you kick from a hip, your legs will be much straighter, right? It will be much straighter, and it will help you to move forward with a decent speed, right? Then the next point, alternating and continuous. What does that mean? Alternating, right? 1 foot at a time. Let's say left, right, left, right, left, right. And continuous throughout the swim. So from the start to finish, our legs will work. The next point, ranges from 2 to 6 beats per arm circle. Sorry, per arm cycle. So what does that mean? Right, it means per arm cycle, per right arm, per left arm, right? You will do either 2 kicks, you will do 4 kicks or 6 kicks, right? So this range will actually depend on your physical capability, right? The power of the legs, power of your legs, and the event you swim, right? So the next point, yeah, your kick has to be very controlled, right? Kick into the surface without oversplashing. Your kick has to be very controlled and not oversplash, right? It should be a small boiling water splash. It should be a very small boiling water splash, not a very big one which splashes water all around the pool, right? Yeah, so let's move on to the next slide. Yeah, common error that we find, like I said before, is you don't initiate your kick from your hip, and you initiate from your knee. So bending knees is the error, right? As you see in the first picture, the knees are bent, right? That is the error we are talking about. Second picture shows the correct way of initiating the kick, right? Keeping your knees straight. So you can, how can we fix the error? Look at the third picture, right? You can use the kick board, right, and kick on your back while keeping it on your knees, as shown in the third picture. If your knee is still touching the board, you are still doing it wrong. It should not touch the board, right? So now you have to kick with your toes breaking the surface without hitting the ball. Then you are doing it correct. Right. Let's move on to the next slide. Yes. Moving on to the third part of the backstroke breakdown, arms, right? First of all, it's thumb lead recovery, right? Your thumb comes out first, right? And it's little finger entry and down, up, down, pull. So let's break this into three phases. You all can see the three phases: entry phase, pull phase, and the recovery. So let's break. So let's take the entry phase first, right? So the entry phase is where you enter with your little finger, right? You enter with your little finger and always keeping your arms straight, right? That arm stays straight. And you cannot have any bent arms which will create resistance in your swing, right? Straight arm, and it will not create resistance in your swing. And the next point is 11 o'clock and 1 o'clock. So what is 11 o'clock and 1 o'clock, right? Let's take a clock, right? Imagine 12 on top, 6 at the bottom, right? 11 on the right side and 1 on the left, right? So that is the entry phase. So that is where you have to enter. 11 o'clock, the right arm on the 11, and you enter your left arm on 1 o'clock. All right. So next, the pull phase, right? So you pull your pull. It is called down, up, down. Always down, up, down, pull. So when the down, up, down is done in the midway, right? You will have a bent elbow. There will be a bent elbow, right? It's a 90-degree bent elbow. It will be 90-degree bent elbow, which will then finish at the hips, right? Yeah. In case some swimmers may finish just outside the hips, right? But we teach you to finish at the hips because that is how backstroke should be done. And there is an acceleration, small acceleration throughout the pull, right? So you do the pull down, up, down, right? The pull gets faster step by step and it finishes at the hips. Right. Next, the recovery phase. So the term says it all, right? Your arm is tied after the pull. This is the phase we relax, right? So what do we do here? So your thumb breaks the water surface first, right? Thumb out with the periscope recovery, right? Where you keep your arms straight and very relaxed. So no tension in your arms, which will give you a relaxation, right? No tension, arms are relaxed, and make you ready for the next pull, right? Relaxed arm will help you to move on to the next pull without any issue, right? And your arms are not tired. Then you maintain a relaxed arm with maintain a relaxed arm, right? So let's move on to the next slide. Yeah, moving on to the common error of the arms, right? The common error is children pulling with the straight arm, forgetting this down, up, down pull, right? They forget that. It will not help you to move fast as you think unless you have strong arm with this error, right? So how can we fix this? So the best way of correcting this is to do the lane row pull as shown in the left picture, right? Okay, look at the left picture. That is how we do the lane row pull to fix this error. And the right picture shows us the correct hand position, right, to maintain while to pull. So the right picture, that is the 90-degree angle which you should maintain when I do the pull. So let's move on to the next slide. Yeah. So backstroke black B. The second B is breathing, right? So the fourth component, which is the breathing component, Yeah, anyway, your head is out in backstroke, right? So most people think that it is not that difficult to breathe in backstroke, right? But there is a breathing mechanism, right? A breathing pattern. You breathe on entry of one arm and you breathe out on the entry of your other arm, right? Breathe on one and breathe out on the other. So that is the basic idea of the breathing pattern of backstroke. So let's move on to the next slide. Yeah. So the final component, T. T stands for timing. Timing which is involved in backstroke is actually the coordination of timing. Many other strokes, the other three strokes would have timing as timing of breathing, but in backstroke, timing of breathing is in breathing itself. So the backstroke timing is all about the coordination and the rhythm, or you can say timing of the rhythm. So backstroke has the mantra called the catch 2-3, right? Catch 2-3 rhythm. So you catch the water and you say catch down up, right? Or you can say catch 2-3, catch 2-3. That's the rhythm. So you can see on the first picture, right? You catch down up, right? So look at the first picture. Catch down up, right? Catch down up. That is the rhythm you have to maintain here. So timing is all about rhythm on backstroke. All right. So we have come to the end of my presentation. So I hope that you took notes regarding the points that you didn't know and learned something new, right? If you have any questions regarding backstroke, you can send it to us. We are ready to answer. And also, if you all have any issues regarding technique, speeds, or anything as related to swimming, always speak, right? Always stay with your coaches and trouble your coaches until they clarify your doubts. Thank you very much. And I will hand over the discussion back to Coach Kasun. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Nimesh, for that brilliant presentation. I'm sure it was useful for most of you and all of you. And now let's move on to the questions. Just before we move on to the questions, just keep in mind, we will try and take up one question each from a swimmer, and we will try our best to answer it. If we miss out on any questions, what we will do is we will get it on text and we will send it to you with answers for your questions, right? So just give me 1 second so I can unmute everyone to join the panel. Okay. So the first question is actually regarding freestyle. And the question is, this came up quite early. When we bring one eye out, what is the difference? Coach Shachil?
Yeah, thank you, Kasun. The difference is, guys,
Guys, can I, sorry, is it the difference between having both eyes out and one eye out, right? That's what we want to clarify.
Yes, I think they want to know the advantage, maybe. Yeah. Why
versus having one eye out and having both eyes out when you breathe on freestyle.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, thank you. Guys, when both eyes are out, then head is out, then that is resistance. Clear? And one eye in, one eye out, right? Then it really helps to keep the balance. When your both eyes are out, that is not, it's imbalance in freestyle stroke. So if it is one eye in, one eye out, that is with balance, and it really helps to save at least by microsecond. Clear?
Thank you, Shachil. Again, another freestyle related question. Would we slow down if we move our head? So this is about the head position. So basically, they're asking whether you'd slow down if your head is moving around.
Yes. Yeah, thank you, Kasun. Guys, when your head is up or your head is moving out, that is resistance, right? When your head is out, here's the water surface and here's the head. When your head is out, this is resistance, right? When your head is down, no resistance here. Clear? And when your head is down, that is you have to keep your chin close to the chest. Then no resistance.
Thank you, Shachil. I think this question would be is directed to both of you, to Shachil and Nimesh. I think it's a general question. It applies for all strokes. They have asked, I think at one point we have spoken about the importance of kicking, right? And then they have asked one of the I think one of the kids had asked, how do Paralympic swimmers swim with no legs? So
can I answer that, Butterin? Because I had the privilege of coaching a swimmer at the Paralympics who lost his leg below the knee when he was as a soldier, when he was fighting in the war. And it's true, obviously, they are what you call the differently able. And when you are missing a limb, you're obviously going to be handicapped. And mind you, this young man, Priyadarshana, even though he was, I would say, missing half a leg, his kick sets, that's what Coach Kasun at the beginning said, these 8-100s kick swimmers. He used to swim, I think, and if I recall right, easily he could do his 8-100s on 2 minutes or even on a 150 interval. He swam his 100 freestyle at 58 seconds. But yes, he was handicapped, but it didn't stop him from swimming fast. So the fact is that, yes, if you're missing a limb, an arm, it all goes to the extreme of having athletes who are paralyzed who also swim in a different category. So the more the disability, the greater the handicap. So we should be thankful that, what we have, and we should put it into maximum use. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach Julian. I think this is for backstroke. This is regarding backstroke. They have asked, why do we roll to a 45-degree angle? So this is about, they're asking about the body roll, I assume, and why should it be done, the importance of the body roll.
Kasun, I think Nimesh is muted because I see him muted.
Yeah, I'm trying to
unmute him, please. Yeah.
Second. Okay, for some reason, it's not getting unmute. Shehan, will you be able to take that question for the time being?
Yeah, what is the question? Why you rotate, is it?
Yeah, basically, why do you rotate to 45 degrees?
Yeah. So body rotation for backstroke is very important because when you are flat in the water comes and hits the whole shoulder and you are going against the water. When you're on your side, half of your body is out, minimizing the resistance so that you can move forward. Once if you have your whole body, the water will keep pushing you back. So when you get to your side, you will cut the resistance that you have by half. So always being on the side will make you go even faster than being flat.
Right. Thank you, Shan. We hope that answers your question. And then we have again another backstroke related question for Coach Nimesh. I don't feel that I am moving faster when I am doing bent arm pull. Why is the bent arm important?
Yeah.
So
Well, you can hear me, right? Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Well, this is a very common question asked by many swimmers. Usually, swimmers try to keep their arms straight and pull because it is easier, right? You might not feel the advantage of the bent arm pull while swimming, but without a bent arm pull, it reduces the power of the arms, which will prevent you from moving faster through the water, right? So backstroke bent arm is very important for you to move faster, right? Because it increases your power, push the water back, and that is more productive, I think. I hope that is very clear. That is clear.
Can I butter in a bit on that? I think
Yeah.
Nimesh gave a very good explanation. But swimmers, what we have seen with young kids who are learning to swim, believe it or not, whenever you started to swim, you didn't know, but your freestyle pull was a straight arm pull. And probably your coach should have corrected it later on, or most times you end up having a bent arm pull. It's natural. Backstroke even takes longer. A lot of young kids who are learning the backstroke will always start with the straight arm. And then why we know the bent arm, as Coach Nimesh said, the bent arm is stronger. Now, if you think of throwing a ball, do you throw a ball with a straight arm or bent? And then if you look at all the Olympic swimmers, we also have bent arms. So when we start swimming, we have the straight arm. So when we are introduced something new, don't forget swimmers, when something new is introduced, you might not swim fast immediately because you're not used to it. You might actually start swimming slower. But give basic proper techniques a chance to work within you, and it won't happen most times overnight that you start swimming faster. So when you move into good technique, a new technique, always remember it can be uncomfortable, it can be slower, but you have that transition period that you need to give yourself.
Thank you, Coach Julian. We have another backstroke question. I keep hitting the lane ropes when I am swimming backstroke. How can I stop that?
Right. So this is also a major issue, right, faced by many swimmers, especially the juniors or the beginners, right? There are many disadvantages of swimming crooked. Always, right? The total distance, right? If you go to that advantage when you swim crooked, right? The total distance you swimming is actually longer when you go crooked. Or if you hit the lane rope, it might you have to restart your stroke because the rhythm will break. The best advice I can give is to look at one point directly above you from the start to the end, right? Or look at the side directly, right? You might need to use the corners of your eyes to see if you're swimming straight, but make sure you don't turn your head, right? Or else the entire neutral body position will break. Swimming straight also comes with practice. So you can do the drill keeping a cup on your forehead, right? And keep swimming, and you can keep practicing on this mistake.
Thank you, Nimesh. Just maybe we have time for just one more question, which has been sent in. Is the kick? This I assume it goes to Shachil, and if anyone wants to join in the explanation, please do. Is the kick or the pull important in freestyle? What should I think more about?
Yeah, I think both are more important. So, very important thing is pull, and also the kick. So, but pull is the main important thing, right? I have talked about this. So fingers turn down back, about the long pull. I think the main important thing is pull.
Anyone else who would
Yeah, I
want?
think
Yeah.
what Coach Shachil said was right. The pull contributes to the movement or the propulsion of freestyle. The pull is what gives 70%. Like Coach Kasun said at the start, 70% of the movement comes from the pull and 30% from the legs.
Legs, correct.
But it doesn't make legs less important, because legs will be also a stabilizer to keep that body horizontal. So if you're going to think which is important, both are important. But in terms of your swim, legs will be less contributing to your movement. But in terms of importance factor, I believe both are equally important.
Thank you, Sachil and Shayan. I think, I mean, there are some questions which I think we will be covering in the next set of lectures. So I'm not going to take them now. But there's, I think, one question which will help a lot of young kids here, where young kids watch a lot of Olympics. They watch a lot of videos of swimmers. So I think one question which has come up is, why do many Olympic swimmers use a straight arm recovery in freestyle? So if someone would like to take it, either Julian sir or Shayan sir or
Yeah,
Pranita sir.
I mean, yeah, this has been debated, guys. I'm just glad that today young kids are asking some super duper questions. And in case we don't have the answer, we will say that we don't have it. Not that all coaches know all the answers to all questions and all problems, but we will always say we'll go back in and check it out and come back to you. But there is a compromise. If you probably look at the 50-meter freestyle at the Olympic race or with senior athletes, they have a straight arm pull, straight arm recovery, the basic efficiency. It's called a body driven freestyle. That's for the 50-meter freestyle. Then what we do in the 100 meter, 200 meter, and our normal day-to-day training, we have what we call the basic techniques. Now, if you watch an Ian Thorpe or Michael Phelps swim the 200 freestyle, even 100, you'll see them having the bent arm pull. So most times, probably what you've seen on a straight arm pull is on a 50-meter freestyle. But for sure, we'd like to show you, this is an excellent question. And what we want to do is all these questions, we will put it on text form and with answers and share it with all the swimmers. And even try and share some videos pertaining to that issue, if we can. So obviously we have a lot more work to do, coaches, after this. So yeah, regarding the straight arm, yeah, we had a distance swimmer back when I swam at the Olympics. Janet Evans she won the 800-meter gold. She held the world record for 20 years and she had a straight arm recovery. Well, it doesn't mean to say everybody now needs to do that. That's against basic biomechanics, but we always have a thing, what we call an exception to the rule. Some swimmers, some athletes in different sports might do something very different to what we call basic biomechanics and still perform well. So,
That maybe is because of their body strength.
Yeah, they just grow up that way. So coaches, yes, we're going to teach every swimmer to swim with a high elbow. Eventually, when we see a swimmer unable to get that high elbow going and it looks like a natural straight arm, we might work with the swimmer to have that straight arm freestyle.
Thank you, sir. I think now we have passed our time. So the questions which were not answered, what we'll do is, as Julian sir said, that we will get back to you because of the time restriction. I'm sure you are hungry and you want to go back to for your dinner or watch TV or cartoons. So first of all, I would like to thank everyone for being here today. If you have friends, your swimmers, you can tell them to join in. You have the link, you can just forward it to them. We can host up to, let's say, even 1,000 participants. Today we had about 350, which I think is a very good number. So please join in tomorrow. Just try and be here by 6:50 and maybe switch off your video, so then our connectivity will be a bit much more improved. And so then if you be here by 6:50, by 7 o'clock we can start. And we can, go for the next set, the other 2 strokes and the starts and the turns. That will be done tomorrow. And so all the best. Have a good evening. Good night.